Hello, everyone. Welcome to Biz Chicks TV. This is a place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today it's time for coffee, tea, thoughts, and conversations with the Biz Chicks and First Mondays. So we just want to say welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. We're looking forward to hearing from you and the wonderful things that you are doing in your businesses so that we can support you and get the word out about how to contact you. Now, we always like to have a conversation on Mondays. And also, I want you to stay tuned because we got a special guest for you. And we're looking forward to hearing from her. We'll be introducing her shortly. But this morning on our walk, we had a conversation about potential. And Fran is always coming up with these wonderful inspirations. And we got to talking about what is potential and just how it affects us. So, Fran, you have some thoughts on potential?
Yeah, so I didn't look up the definition. I was just musing over the word potential. And it occurred to me that our potential is the thing that is really within us, the ability to do a certain thing, the innate, it is kind of like it's just there. Instinct, like on the animals and things, there's an instinct. And the animals have the potential to do certain things. Plants have the potential to do certain things, but we have a potential to do certain things or to be certain things. We've always heard the term not living up to one's potential.
Mhm.
So to suggest that if someone is not living up to their potential, it just means that there's something in there. There's something more to there's something more. There's something that we are not seeing. Hey, Coach Karen, there's
Mhm.
there's more to the story. There's more to it. So with that in mind, what potential or what are we not living up to that's in us that we could be doing, that we are not there? Maybe and the thought came across that maybe we're not doing our potential because we're focused on something else.
Mhm. Mhm.
We have the potential for so much more.
Okay. I just something I'm always thinking about when I hear the word potential. Maybe I'm becoming cynical as I get more mature, but these individuals bringing people home, talking about this is who I'm going to marry or this is who I'm dating, and they have such potential. Potential is of no value if you're not using it. It's like an unopened gift, right?
Hmm.
And then even if you open the gift and recognize, oh, I've got a gift. But if you never utilize that gift, it's of no value. And I when we were talking, I gave you the example of you get a coffee maker, and you open it up and you set it on the counter. Well, that's nice. But it has no function, it has no value, it brings no joy other than aesthetics if it's not serving the purpose it was designed for. Okay. So having potential is not enough to to bring value to the marketplace.
Right. You have having the potential without using the potential. And I believe your potential will bring the prosperity.
Yes, and someone over here is saying, "Good morning." We got someone on Facebook, and they've got some comments here. They say, "My daddy told me show and tell us the best game." Okay,
Is the
show
best game. Yeah, show and tell is probably
it's
um show and tell. Do
is the best
show
game.
your potential.
Hmm.
Talk about it and then do it. Good morning, Carlos.
Hey,
Um,
Cole.
Karen says potential without intention is frightening. I'm not sure what that emoji is. Somebody can
It's
interpret that
sad.
emoji. But that ain't sad. I don't know what that is, but that's one that I let's see. I have to get my emoji game up.
Is it disappointing? What is that? I know it's got a
It
frown.
looks like frightening or oh my gosh. Anyway, but it's not good. You got to do something with the potential that we have. Uh, and I'm thinking maybe we are staying in our vein. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Our potential is something that we may be very, very good at, or what comes easy for us,
Ah,
but
mhm.
we don't flow with that. We seem to venture over to a different vein sometime. And when we can stay in our A game, doing what comes natural for us,
Yes.
and if we stay in that vein, doing what is natural for us, I think it works better. Like for Carlos, he loves doing video and all of those different type of things, and you may have potential for a lot of different things
Hmm.
for different which okay, so we're supposed to at least 7 streams of income, which means you have a potential at 7 different things.
Yes. Several different things. Hmm.
But are we utilizing the potential that's within us? Do we?
Or is it sitting up on the counter looking cute?
No
That
coffee,
was,
not
yeah. Well,
not not helping out the whole thing. Your potential needs to be activated. It needs to be intent, like Coach Karen says, here's the objective: having or showing the capacity to become or develop into something in the future. This is
mm,
the adjective of potential: having or showing the capacity to become or develop into something in the future. It's in you.
you have the capacity.
But now you need to develop it.
And
You
then use it.
yes,
My thing is, a lot of people develop all of these potentials that are, and then they go sit down. They never offer it to the world.
I'm going to talk about Terralina. She has a potential of talent for teaching and training. She did it with the state of California, and she was helping other people in underserved that served underserved communities, make sure I'm saying this right,
Mhm.
realize that they had potential, helping them to see their potential. And so she did that for a number of years. Hey, Liz, good morning. She did that for a number of years, and she went about helping people discover that they could use that potential that they had in different ways. Am I right?
Yes,
So,
and how to apply that to the marketplace so that they
right,
could make a living,
right.
become
So
self-sufficient was the objective.
now she retired from the state of California, and now she's using that same gift and potential she had for that here in Biz Chicks,
Mhm.
because we do workshops, we do things here to help you see that your potential is great and that you have the capacity to do a certain
Mhm.
thing, and you have to develop it. We're here to help you discover your genius, how to get it out of you, take it from potential to prosperity.
Yes.
um, Coach Karen says potential means you're going to try and fail because you're doing, and that's the nature of life. It's like, okay, that didn't work, okay, so now let's try it this way.
Mhm.
Coach Karen
So,
also says if you're afraid of failing, you're not going to do.
mhm, yeah. And that's true. However, I'm just talking about all this pent up potential, so called, I'm going to put it this way, all this so called pent up potential. Okay.
And,
Potential, mm-mm, it
you
means
you
it might
have
not.
there's potential in all of us to do greater.
Hmm. Hmm.
We have to focus on it. We're going to have to pull it out and pay attention to it, and maybe not be all over the place, and figure out which one of the things that we do well we need to start being about,
There you
and
go.
put some intention behind that. Here lately in my real estate stuff, I was like, you know what, I need to kind of pay attention to this. I have a potential to earn a great deal of money, but if I'm not paying attention to the fact that I can earn a great deal of money in that arena,
Hmm.
that license gives me the potential to earn that on a significant amount of money.
Yes,
Only if I show up and participate in the thing for which the license was granted.
exactly.
Okay, so I have a real estate license. If I don't play in the real estate field, or if I don't get out there and do work in the real estate arena, my potential is now being capped
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
because I'm not utilizing it. That real estate license gives me great potential to earn a significant income.
All
I
right.
could I helped somebody purchase a house. The first time I started out, it was a long time ago. I helped my sister buy a house, or helped her find a house, not buy
Uh-huh.
it, helped her find a house. And I was like, wow, she found a house, she bought the house, and I couldn't get paid because I didn't have the license.
Hmm.
I was like, wait a minute. If I'm going to invest this type of time and to do this type of thing, then I need to get the piece of paper that can give me the potential to earn what that figure could be.
Hmm.
Carlos is in the lending industry, if he's still in the room, and he can attest to the fact if you don't, we have an opportunity to do some things, but you got to take the license and all the work that you put in to get the license. You need to use it.
Indeed, indeed.
Not just have it, I got a certificate up on the wall.
You see what I mean?
I went and got the piece of paper.
Now what?
Now what?
Hmm. So unapplied potential is of no value.
The
Potential is just the
potential is
capacity.
there.
Hmm. And
Uh,
potential is
let
nothing
me,
more than the capacity to do something, the ability to do something.
right. Liz says, finding the tools to share your message. You have to find the tools to share the message. You're going to need to work to exercise your potential. Good morning, Yolanda. Coach Karen says, I had this teacher, Miss Crawford. She would allow her kids in class to live up to their potential. This is how she did it. She would give work below our grade level to see who did well and who did not.
Mhm.
That's interesting. So she would give them work below their grade level to see if they would rise to the occasion.
And also to see have they grasped the basics before I move on. Which kids have the potential to move are ready to move on, who have the capacity, i.e., the potential to go further. If not, these people may need these children may need review. These children may need maybe they missed a step, the year before or something like that. So, yeah.
And potential can be measured. Mark says knowledge is potential power. It must be applied for it to become wisdom.
There you go. I love
Mhm.
Mark. Mark always has these profound in statements. Thank you, Mark.
So what are we doing with the, are you using, wait, how can you lose with the stuff you use? Okay, are you using the potential that you've been given? We've been put here on the planet, and there's something within us that can help us to grow, that can help us get to where it is that we can help other people.
Mhm.
And again, all of the potential that is within us, here's the secret that I learned. It's not for us. It's
Mhm.
for someone else. And as we are helping others, we ourselves are helped. It's like the apple tree. The apple tree gets its roots, gets its sustenance from the roots, from the soil, from the sun, from the water, and it produces a fruit called apples, which is the potential, right? The apples are for everybody else. The apple tree doesn't eat apples.
Mhm. Mhm.
If we think about it, the apple tree or any other fruit tree, the fruit tree doesn't eat its own fruit. It's for the benefit of others.
And those things just come naturally. It's the nature of the fruit tree. And so I think a lot of times our potential is overlooked by us as individuals because it's our nature and we just do it with ease. The apple tree doesn't have to sit there and say, I'm going to make apples. I'm going to make apples. I'm going to make apples. It just happens.
Right, because it's in there.
It's
And
in.
and Chinu over in Clubhouse says hello.
Hey, how you
Hey
doing?
Chinu. And then Elizabeth says,
Mhm.
oh, Coach Karen, she talks about, she's picking up from where she was talking about her teacher. She
Yes.
said the teacher would then work on the ones who needed more help while letting the ones who did a great job do more.
And we call that an individual education plan. So she developed individualized learning based on the individual's potential,
Mm,
their capacity to learn something. And the way that they learned. Some people learn through tactile methods. Some people read. Some people listen. So some people are audio learners. So are you visual? So she was able to tap into the way they learn and where they were able to shine and to let that thing happen on an individualized basis. Yeah. So potential is in all of us.
And then Liz says if one of your roadblocks is writing, are you aware of copy.ai? This is her new favorite tool. So it's interesting, Liz, that you're talking about writing, because our guest coming in today is going to be talking about uh, that arena. So thank you for making us aware of this. Is if your roadblocks is writing, are you aware of copy.ai? All right, we might need to check that out.
Hmm.
Coach Karen says helping is what allowed her to recognize her potential.
Helping others. Mm-hmm.
Helping is what allowed her to recognize. So, do you all recognize your potential? That is what First Monday is all about. We are here to help you shine your potential to the world today. Today, we want to know about you. We want to know what it is you do. And if you are wanting to take a seat and talk about what it is you do after we've heard from our guests, we'd be happy to send you a link and you can take a seat and just come on in and come on
Yeah.
live, get camera ready and get cute or handsome and come on in here and tell us about what it is that you do. And that includes you all over on Clubhouse as well.
Yes.
I will put a link in the chat over here. I am so learning Clubhouse how to maneuver around in this place. Just make sure I don't hit end room. That's all I need.
For real. Uh, wow.
So if that is something you like, let us know. Now, in the meantime, okay, I'm not sure what happened.
I'm not sure what happened either.
I know, I know.
Oh,
So,
that was interesting, wasn't it?
yes. We were about to introduce our guest, but I'm not sure they had something that happened and they had to. Oh, there we go. She's
Okay.
coming back in. I was
And
like, wait, what happened?
yes, and we need her to allow her camera.
Yeah, she's there. She's putting
Mm,
everything in there. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
okay.
Okay,
Oh,
Liz.
great, Elizabeth.
Yeah, we're going to give anybody who wants to come on 2 minutes to come and talk about what they do. So I'm going to put the link in the chat, and I am invite, copy. And Coach Karen, if you anybody, I'm just putting the link in the chat. Y'all have to figure out how to put it in there, how to get in there. Okay,
Okay,
so
there
you
we
now have an opportunity to join us live. So now on to the next part of Biz Chicks live today and in our coffee talks. I don't want to push the wrong button. Okay, there I go. Um, every first Monday we like to bring a guest on to have an interview so we can talk to them about what it is they do, how they serve, and how they help. This is a little more in depth than the little 2 minute spiel we give you. This one is a little longer, and just to get to know you. And so today we have in the house Cheryl Ferguson. I'm not sure she's going to be visual, but she is here audio wise. Cheryl, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
All righty then. Um, Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. If you got our text message, you saw Cheryl's beautiful picture via text. And then maybe we can figure out how to get her visual up with a picture. But anyway, she's here, she's live, she's in person. Cheryl, thank you so much for stepping in and just being a guest with us today.
Oh, it is my pleasure. You know, I'd do anything for you and Terralina.
You know I
And
love you, Cheryl.
I love what you do. And I tell you, you all energize me. So I'm so glad to be here and so thankful that you invited me.
Oh,
All
sweet.
righty then. So our first question on the why did you start your business, and tell us a little bit of how you got started.
I was in corporate accounting,
Mm,
but I've been writing since I was 7, and I got paid when I was 7. And you know, we've all been writing since we were kids. I mean, you know, we illustrated with stick people and the whole 9 yards. But I was actually living in France at the time, and they had a coffee table book on France that I wanted,
mm.
and but it was only obtained through a contest. And so my dad said, enter the contest. Well, you had to write an essay. At 7 years old, I'm still wondering, well, what is essay? You know, he said, you got to write a story. So I did, and sent it off, and did the Bebe Kids thing. Did it come back yet? Did I win yet? And there was no answer. So one day, my dad came home from work, and he had a packet, and in it was my book, and it was an all expense paid trip to Paris as well.
Oh my goodness.
And we weren't living too far from Paris. We were in Chinon,
Uh-huh.
and so that was my first excursion with writing, and I've been writing ever since. So in corporate America, even though I was in accounting, whenever somebody needed something written, they came to me. Well, it won't take but a little second or two. You can do this. I said, I'm going to start charging you all. And I started thinking about it, and I did. I charged for love letters and answering their questions when I was in college and high school. We come from an entrepreneurial family. So that's where it started. And I got to a point in corporate America when I came back to the US for the last time. And I said, this isn't what I want to do. I want to write, and I had been writing. And so, what's the meme that goes around Facebook or the internet is, if I want to read a novel, I write it myself. That's what I did, and formed a writing group so that others could write with me and we could have fun. And it was the beginning of a wonderful adventure that led me into being a store manager for Walden's Borders Corporation. And that was so much fun, so much so that when I left and I knew it was time for me to leave, I wanted to go back. And so I was doing the Lot's wife thing. And so the Lord put me back in there. Trust me, I have no more desire to be in the bookstore ever. But so that's how I got started.
Wow. And just in case I didn't do this, this is Cheryl Ferguson, and she's a publishing coach. Now she was trying to give me some other vernacular about what she was doing, and she was all around. I was like, "You are a publishing coach," and I was like, "Yeah, that's what you do." I don't know about all this other stuff, but she's helping you get your book published. You write it, and then she can help you get to the steps and the places that you need. Because a lot of times we don't understand that world. There was a lot about publishing that I did not understand. I'm writing 3 books, but I was like, okay, so I wrote it. Now what? Right? We always tell you here at Biz Chicks, we tell you need you need a cheerleader and a coach.
Absolutely.
And a community that you trust. And so I was like, I need somebody in the community that I can trust, because I'm not sure how to do this. You know how when you walk into a room and you have an idea or you have something, and then when you get to that person and you're about ready to hand over what you've been working on for years, and you're like, okay, is this going to be okay? Am I going to be okay? Am I going to get, because we've heard the horror stories of how stuff doesn't work out quite as well. Well, that was not the case here. So I felt really comfortable and confident when I handed over my manuscript with, I had someone do some editing to it, and then I handed it over and got it back and forth. And she talked to me through the process. I'm like, do you, okay, so are you helping anybody do this? Or what? So I'm gonna let you finish telling that story, Cheryl, because I was like, this is a coach.
Miss Francine, first of all, I have to tell you, Francine's first draft, if you will, is better than a lot of people's final draft. But she was wise enough to seek out help. And it's absolutely amazing how, if we choose to just write what's in our heart, what's in our head, in our own voice, how well it will turn out in the first stages. Not to say that she didn't have a background concerning writing. I mean, there's no doubt about it. She definitely can write. She has a voice, she has a style, and that style is so no nonsense, but it's got a little bit of tongue-in-cheek humor there that is absolutely compelling. So, when it comes to publishing, you can get people to teach you how to market, how to promote, because those are 2 different things, by the way. But it won't do you a bit of good unless you have a quality book, because the best promotion tool you have is the quality of that book, the book itself. So it was a joy to work on Francine's book, and we are going through the last phase here. It's pretty much just reading through and making sure the little tiny details are in place. And you want to get that book, people. I'm telling you, it's good. I have to remember, okay, Cheryl, you're on the job, you're editing, you're not reading for pleasure and fun and instruction. But you can't help but learn from Francine's book. So when it comes to um, writing that book, the first thing and the most important thing is to get that first draft down. And the second most important thing is to get an editor. If you can't, and I don't believe in not being able to afford something, but people do say I can't afford it. You get the best that you can for the buck that you have, because at the end of the day, the editing makes all the difference in the world. You don't know what you don't know, and in today's climate, especially with the pandemic, everybody wants to write a book. I mean, my business just started. Oh my goodness, it just accelerated like nobody's business,
Mhm.
because everybody said this is the time to write the book. Okay. um and it was really interesting that I had no expectation that anyone who was writing
Mhm.
a book did not understand how editing worked. And so that was a conversation that I needed to have whenever I was speaking with a potential client, was exactly how the editing process worked. And because there's a difference between an edit and a rewrite. Your editor is not rewriting your book. At the same time, there you may have to do a rewrite, but the editor is showing you what needs to be rewritten and how, what techniques and devices you need to use. So my wish is that anyone who writes that book and is looking for that editor at least get some basic writing 101 under your belt, so that you actually understand the language that's being spoken. Or if you don't understand, please ask them to explain. We're happy to. And we're not expecting you to come in with a PhD in writing. But,
Mhm.
if I say we're doing a structural edit, you know, and it's crickets, in your brain concerning that, just say, what is it? And I'm happy to share it with you.
All right. And so we had a couple of comments here, and then we'll move on to the next question. Mark says, I worked at V. Dalton Bookseller for years. I still like Cheryl, even though she was working for the competition.
Oh, let me tell you, Mark, some of my best friends, and we know that phrase, were B. Dalton and Barnes and Noble, because that was a subsidiary of theirs, or were my best friends. As a matter of fact, one of the things I did, I believe there's enough room in the world for everyone. And so many of the Barnes and Noble and B. Dalton managers that I knew, we got together, and with other Borders Walden's managers that I knew, and we would help each other. For instance, if I was in Savannah at this particular time, that's where I started in the book business,
Mhm.
and they had Barnes and Noble in Oglethorpe Mall, and I was in Savannah Mall. If I didn't have a book and I knew they did, I'd call down there and verify that they actually had the book on hand, and I'd send the customer down there. They started doing the same, kind of freaked people out there for a moment because they believed there was that competition. But I have to tell you, some of the best research books I ever purchased came from B. Dalton and Barnes and Noble, as well as Walden's. So we worked together, and it worked really well for us. So I salute you being a B. Dalton former manager, because you were my colleague and my friend, and you didn't even know it.
And so we have a comment over here from Shanu Phillip. She says, exactly. I have been sitting on an unfinished manuscript. So,
Mm,
Shanu, what would you tell her?
finish it.
Okay.
Finish it. Can't do anything with half a manuscript, but you may want to ask yourself, why haven't you finished it? Start asking those questions, because you have a story to tell that is obvious, and it's probably one that's going to transform people's lives.
Mhm.
And sometimes we're afraid of success, sometimes we're afraid of failure, sometimes it's both. We can come up with 3001 Jedi mind tricks of why we can't move forward with that book. But I would encourage you to just sit down and just take anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 minutes a day, and however many days you want. Maybe you say, you know what, this week on Wednesday, I will write 5 minutes. Commit to those 5 minutes. Just write those 5 minutes. You don't have to do anything else, because I will tell you one thing that is absolutely for sure, and nobody can refute it. If you write one word on Wednesday, you have written more than you wrote on Tuesday.
Right.
So one word can take you wherever you go. If you do one page in 365 days, you've got a novel. You got a novel and a half. If you write in today's books, they have a shorter word count, shorter span. So a 2-hour conversation is a 50-page book. Record your conversation, record your book. Just start talking, whatever it is you want to talk about. Or send yourself an email answering the questions that the people who want your book would ask, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. So at the end of the day, there's one thing that's absolutely for sure. You'll never be published if you don't finish the book. Unless, of course, you have a great marketing plan and you say, hey, get my book. It's the first unfinished book that's going to hit the bestseller list. People might buy it just for the novelty of it. But
Wow.
9 times out of 10, it may not satisfy you, because if you're a writer, and you are, you're not going to be satisfied until you see it in print, till you see it somewhere where people can say, I bought your book. So I hope that helps.
Shanu said, good information and thank you. Coach Karen says, I'm going to stay quiet, because Shanu, I think she was going to tell you the same thing that Cheryl just told you. And Barb, I will definitely do that. Terralina, you're asking if it's for pre-order. I'm working on some stuff. You'll get some notifications. Mark says, on 3 separate occasions, no lie, I have been approached by people, strangers, claiming to be psychic, and they told him the very same thing. You're going to write a book. So far, I have been living to prove them wrong. LOL. Thank you, Mark. Mark got jokes. Mark needs to put all his jokes in a book. Seriously.
He is our resident community.
Oh, goodness. Well, Mark, if they were psychic, how come they couldn't also tell you that you were not only that you were meant to write that book, but they already knew you weren't going to write it? How come they couldn't tell you that? So I like that. I like you, Mark. Comrades in arms.
Yes. So, and now we're going to make Cheryl's information is here on the screen. The thing that I got out of my conversation with her was the fact that, you can go to direct.me, Cheryl Ferguson, and book an appointment and just find out where you are and where you want to go, especially if you've been struggling with it. In the beginning stages and trust issues behind it, because stuff happens online.
Yes.
So what I would also tell you is what I did to get my writing done. I went to a writer's room. In the writing room, it was like 5:30 in the morning, but I showed up in the writing room and I just wrote. I just started typing stuff, and I was going to spend the next hour and a half writing something. It wasn't formatted. It wasn't edited. It was just writing. And I took a YouTube class here recently, and the guy that was teaching the class, he said, for YouTube videos, when you feel it, film it. I'm telling you, when you feel it, write it. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just pull out. We got a phone and we got voice recorders on our phones. Just pull it out. When you feel it, just begin to verbalize it, talking into your phone or whatever. And then you can move it over and maybe use the app that Liz was talking about, or other tools that are out there. I would like to say, if you are all interested in having a writing room, where the writing room is a place where you can come and be inspired, because I think there was like 3 or 4 people that were in this room, and we all it's kind of like a study group. Seems like
Hmm.
we get stuff done when there's other people in the room. And so we came into the room at 5:30, and then at the end of the session, so what did you work on today? Well, I got my chapters organized, or well, I wrote a paragraph, or whatever. And then every Friday we would read a little portion of whatever we did. That helped me push a book that had been sitting like Chanew's unfinished manuscript to finish. So if that's something that you're interested, put a 1 in the chat, and maybe we can create a writing room, a Biz Chicks writing room to help you push your books and manuscripts out. Okay, question. Cheryl, what was the biggest challenge you faced when you were getting started?
Having to stop to go to work.
Mm.
I write. I live it, breathe it, eat it, sleep it. I write. I was up at 3 this morning writing and having a good time. And that was what I discovered. However, when I went into the bookstore, it was like I love being in the bookstore so much. That was the only thing I would quit writing to do per se without a hassle. So it's, whatever your favorite distraction is, um, that will probably end up being your biggest challenge. Some of us, we can't write because we're so busy researching.
Mm.
We want to know everything about writing, everything about that ruffled blouse that we're going to put in the book, or everything about that theory we put in the book. Nonfiction, fiction, the challenges are pretty much the same. And you can have, challenges du jour. What is the challenge of the day? Busyness. Um, I created a schedule. I'm all about scheduling and lists. And when I was in the bookstore, one of the things I discovered is most bookstore managers wanted to work 9 to 5. I'm a
Mm.
night owl. So give me that night shift. My company thought I was an anomaly and they loved it. So whenever I felt that I needed to work during the day, they wanted us to break it up. But as a manager, I need to work with my entire staff. All of them don't work during the day and all of them don't work during the evening. And so what I would do when I was working nights, I would get all of my shopping done when I got off work because I got off at 9:30. So I would do grocery shopping, pick up, most things. And, everything was open till about 10 or so. It was a tourist town. So, they accommodated tourists. And then I would write from usually 10 to 2.
Mm.
Um, if I did my shopping in the day before I went to work, that kind of thing. Again, I still wrote 10 to 2, but I definitely couldn't wait to sit down to write. And I'm a plotter. There's that question, are you a plotter or a pantser? A plotter means, do you sit down and outline the book? Or as a pantser, do you just sit down and just start writing the book? Well, I studied author styles and processes, and I learned that Salman Rushdie, he just writes. He writes, and he's a phenomenal writer. But he's putting out a book every 16 years. I'm not that patient. I want it, and I want it now. I want people to say I read it and it was good or it was bad. I couldn't really care less if you liked it or if you didn't like it, because if I made you feel I did my job. Hate it, love it, but please don't be indifferent to it. So at the end of the day, I started creating systems for me. I don't outline to the point where I write the life out of it. When I sit down to write, usually I do about a chapter a night, and I will usually have 3 sentences or 3 words, just depends on what it is, of the 3 things that will happen in that chapter, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. And that has worked for me. So, experiment and find your own systems so that you can head your challenges off at the pass, so to speak.
I like that. So you can get into your flow.
Hmm.
has a comment here. He says, writing is such a powerful tool. I use it with my clients. I will give them a prompt, the first line, and have
Mm,
them write a couple of pages completing the thought from their perspective. It is
hmm
the quickest method of getting to the truth in a way that they can see the underlying truth. Even when we lie to ourselves, there is a pattern. The pattern of the lie will reveal the truth.
That's deep. That is so true, Mark. I agree with you 100%. That's awesome. And I bet you have a wonderful practice. I don't know what you do, but I bet you do it doggone well.
Yeah, Mark is our life strategist.
Mm. Oh, see,
Uh,
that is important.
right. Coach Karen says, so agreed. I thought 6 weeks Simply Money class through audio. Through she taught a 6 week monthly. Wait, start again, Fran. She agrees. She taught 6 week Simply Money class through audio, then transcribed it via Word. So
Hmm
you can record it and then
hmm
translate it. And there's so many tools. She
hmm
used Microsoft Word, there's Google Docs, there's all kind of stuff that can help you do this. And she says this is really good. Um, Cheryl, thank you so much for stepping in here and taking time out of your busy day of writing to spend some time with us and to help us. I got one person over here in Clubhouse who put a 1 in the chat. So we're going to look at setting up a writing room just for people to over in our community, and so that you can have some writing buddies, somebody to help encourage you. We just want to say thank you for doing that. And if you want to reach Cheryl, you can go to direct.me/Cheryl Ferguson slash Cheryl Ferguson.
I'm going to put it up.
She's Terry's putting it up there so you can see it. Direct.me/Cheryl Ferguson, where you can get all of her wherever she's at, whether you're on Instagram or wherever you are, you can find her. Okay. I believe Terry will put that in the chat as well. Does anybody have questions for Cheryl? Anybody on Clubhouse or online? We're taking questions. I don't know, there's a bit of a delay. We have a Facebook user, and if you can tell me your name, because apparently that didn't show up, it says, thank you, Cheryl, for sharing such critical information.
Oh, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. Absolutely. I believe that everybody has a story to tell. And I believe that that story is meant for at least one person, but usually there's an audience.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we do ourselves a disservice by not telling that story and transforming lives. I really do. So I hope that you write your story and we can celebrate with you when it's published. Why you publish, that's up to you. But the people who are waiting on your book, when they get it, they are so very, very happy and very blessed.
All right. And that's Gloria Bailey Ray. Hey, Gloria, how you doing? That is our Facebook user. Stop calling you out. Okay. Oh, okay. Karen is saying you calling her out. And she said, Karen also said she turned her class into a read workbook. She did her first edit and she's doing another edit this week and then passing it on to a professional. So this couldn't have come at a better time.
Congratulations. I look forward to seeing your book, your workbook, and all the other things that come from it. I don't think a lot of people realize that one book can be 8 sources of income. And when you realize that if you put out 8 books, you've got 64 sources of income. And it's absolutely incredible. You're only limited by your thoughts, by us. We're limited by us, because we look at things sometimes so linearly that we can't expand our perspective to see all the wonder of anything.
Mm-hmm.
There's always 2 sides to a story. And when it comes to creativity, you could do a mind map that would be big as the universe.
Mm.
So I land that plane and turn off the engine.
So if you, again, if you'd like to reach Cheryl, her information is in the chat. Terry, did you put it from the direct.me?
Yes, I did.
Because I don't know why that is coming up with 7186. But
Oh,
direct.
that is her Instagram.
Instagram.
That's her
Okay.
Instagram.
Okay, because I'm like, what is that? Okay.
Direct.me is above that in the chat.
And then I believe Gloria said, Cheryl just lit a fire under me to finish my book. Yes, I limit myself. And then, so Karen asked, so Cheryl, do you do the whole, I believe the whole process from beginning to end?
Absolutely.
Okay. And
Absolutely.
then I'm telling you, she's not telling you about a whole other thing, which we probably need to have her back on here, because there's the whole self-published versus traditional publishing, and there are questions you need to have a consult with her before you start talking about how you're going to put it out, so that you don't get ripped off. I learned so much about ISBN numbers, and I learned about what you're supposed to do, what not to do, why you need to have your own and not let somebody else get it for you. I was like, say what?
Absolutely. We had in the beginning phases, I was so blessed. The good Lord basically gave me what I needed to know about e-publishing before it ever hit. And you know how you start wondering, like, is this me or is this really God? Oh, but it hit. God is never wrong. And we have a lot of people in that beginning phase, and I mean, even up until say 2-3 years ago, where their books are now out of print per se, because no one can order it. It's available, but no one can order it because they bought their ISBNs from another entity other than Boker. And what ended up happening is these people went out of business, and the numbers are in limbo because the ISBNs were listed to that company or that business entity. And in case you don't know, the acronym ISBN is for International Standard Book Number. It's like your social security number for your book. There's only one to a book. Nobody will have your ISBN number unless they basically pirated your book. And in that case, we know you got your copyright registered. Please, whatever you do, don't mail yourself a copy of the manuscript and tell yourself that, like everybody has been saying in that, that forum was like, well, who told you? Well, they said. Well, who is they? They. But it is not the poor man's copyright. It doesn't stand up in court. However, even if you didn't register your copyright and you go to court, what will stand up in court is the proof that you have from creation to completion of that book. We all have notes. I created a notebook system when I started the first writing group in Savannah. And let me tell you, that notebook has everything you need. If you go into court, not only is that notebook good for you to write the book and get it done, but if you go into court and you take that notebook, it's going to be like that movie Working Girl, when Mr. Trent asks Sigourney Weaver, he says, so tell me, what was your idea? How did you come onto this idea? And she said, well, I don't know. And he said, no, just a ballpark idea. And she says, well, Owen, I'll have to look at my notes. Why did she say that? Because she needed to get away, because she was sunk, because the person that had the notes was Melanie Griffith's character, because she was the one who came up with the idea. When you start to talk about your creation, if someone says, tell me about the book you wrote, before you ever open your mouth, they see the excitement on your face. And then you launch into this with all this enthusiasm. trust and believe the person who did not create it, they won't have it, nor will they have the paper trail. When you sat there and used 3 sheets of paper front and back trying to figure out the name for your protagonist or the pseudonym that you were going to use for that genre, it's your work is proof that you are the one to have that copyright. But you can save yourself a lot of time by registering the copyright. You can do it online or you can do it through snail mail. It's cheaper online. But definitely get your copyright. If you want to send the copy to yourself, that's fine, but you're not taking that into court. That's not going to wash.
Now, see, we just learned something else today, y'all. Uh, this is why you need a coach, someone who knows the ins and the outs
Mm.
that can help you in case you get stuck, and somebody you can text, call, email, and say, hey, did I do this right? And I'm going to tell you, you're going to make that investment in the coach. We're telling you here right now, make the investment if you want to live up to your potential as an author and a published author. You need to get a good coach. Cheryl is a good coach, and she will tell you how to avoid the pitfalls. And you want that. Coach Karen says we will be talking, and she said her publisher and editor went rogue. So one of her series books, it has her number, but nothing since.
Oh, bless your heart. I often get people, I call myself the Olivia Pope of publishing. I guess of publishing coaches now, thanks to Francine. But I do a lot of fixing. And one of the books I'm ghostwriting right now, uh, they were in a similar situation. Uh, the ghostwriter just dropped off the face of the earth, and the author was upset. And I said, well, everything in its time and everything in God's way, because it may have been for that person to actually get your story on audio so that it could be transcribed, and it was for me to write it. Because when it comes to ghostwriting, it's an all or nothing deal. You either get their voice, get their story the way it needs to be told with its true authenticity, or not. And if you can't find that author's voice, if you can't immerse yourself in their voice and bring it to life on the page, pass it on to a colleague that can. That's the thing about ghostwriting. But I will say, and this one is a drink that I'm going to give you free of charge, and it's no chaser with it. And that is, when you work with an editor or when you work with a done for you publishing process. And there's one thing that I think authors need to know and understand is that done for you publishing processes, these people are not publishers. And so when I talk to potential clients, I hear, well, my publisher, and I say, okay, well, who is your publisher? Well, it's this, that, no, they're not a publishing company. And a vanity press is not a publishing company either. So know, if you know what you're getting into, then you're less likely to get scammed. But in any of these situations, do not sign or assign any of your rights to that person. I had to get a young lady out of a contract because I do help people break their contracts, because in another world, I do more professional stuff as well with publishing. And she had signed away the rights to her image, the rights to the book. She just about every right that you would retain, she gave away. And I was like, why would you do that? And she said, well, they're publishing the book. No, they're not publishing the book. And when I looked at the contract, she paid a very nice sum of money for this service, and then turned around and paid them again, in that she assigned them her royalties. I was like, well, you're not going to make any money off this book. Another contract that I worked with, this was a traditional publishing company. They took up all the rights, and this was negotiated by a professional. I'll put it that way. And so I'm in the middle of having that turned around, and it's going well because never take a Boilermaker. I don't care what the service is. Wealthy people go into contractual conversations with that blank piece of paper, and they write on, they say, this is what I want, and then the negotiations start. Know what you want before you ever sit down to have a conversation with those people. And if there's anything, and I mean this, if you hear nothing else, what I say today, if there's anything you don't understand, you stop until you do, because you could give away the prosperity that God gave you in perpetuity.
Mm.
And you don't want to do that, because your books, there is never an expiration date on your books. And these are uh, this is legacy income for your family, for a foundation, for you can split it up any way you like. But if you give away the rights to someone in perpetuity, they'll be fat, dumb, and happy. But your family will be angry. And every time they mention your name, we loved her, but Lord have mercy, she didn't have a head for business. She gave away our legacy. So at the end of the day, just know what you're signing, and ask questions, because we know that an answer can hide from everything except the right question.
Wow. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you so much for
You're
taking the
more than
time
welcome.
to
We appreciate all you
educate
brought
us.
to the table today. Thank you again.
Thank
Mhm.
you for having me. Like I said, I'd do anything for you all. You're my heart, and you have such, oh my goodness, such edification. I mean, you can't have a conversation with you all, even if it's a high and by, and not learn something valuable. So thank you.
You're welcome. And now, in this portion of our program, we're going to hear from, we want to give you all an opportunity to talk about your companies, what you got going on. And we're going to give you about 2 minutes to say something. I have Shanu over here, and she just said, that's good advice. Um, if you don't understand, ask. And then she also says she just followed you on your Instagram account. So Shanu is over here in the clubhouse. Um, so let's bring
Miss
Liz
Elizabeth.
Green in. And Liz, you got 2 minutes to tell us about who you are, what you do, my dear.
Well, what, hey, ladies, I am so glad that I had an opportunity to come on today. You know, always the right time. What I wanted to do was to share my newest tool, which is Copy AI. And Copy AI is for those of us who love to speak, love to share passion, but when you have to put the words down on paper,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that's when the block comes up. And I would definitely advise, if you want to get your book out, get you a coach like Cheryl, because that's what it took for me to get my book together, was for somebody to walk you through. But if you are trying to just do post, just do um, w- titles for YouTube, even write a first draft wizard. Have you heard of Copy AI?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. I think I've heard of something like Copy AI. It's to put the words in the right, um, to
Okay,
find the right words for what you want. Write better copy.
Copy AI is your newest assistant. When I was managing and I had to get out an email, or I had to get out some information for my team, I would tell them I want this, this, and this in it. Okay. And I would send them off on their way to do it. And what Copy AI does, it comes back just like your assistant with several different copies or several different versions of it so that you can choose. You don't have to worry about, are you spelling the word right? Do you know how to write? They put it together for you and you can try it out free. I put in the chat for you um, the link to it because you've got to check it out. They have what is called a first draft wizard where you can write the title, put in the keywords that you want. Like if it was money, making your money work for you, put in the keywords that you're going to talk about and hit um, create, and in 30 seconds it will do it for you. Want me to show you?
Uh, today we don't have time, but
Oh.
I'm putting this link in the chat right
I
now.
got it. I got it.
Hey,
Frank.
You got it, Sherry?
you
Yeah.
got to try it out. And what I would suggest that you try out, go into, because you know you have a limited amount of time to try it out. Go into the first draft wizard. Okay. Uh, and put in your title, put in a couple of your keywords, and then just keep following the prompts to create. In less than 5 minutes, you can have 1,000-word blog done for you.
Nice.
Okay.
All right, everybody. So what you're going to do is make sure I'm going to put that link over here as well on the Clubhouse.
In the back
So
channel.
Shanu can, or anybody else who's over here
You
wanting
got
to
to,
know about it.
because if you are using the excuse that I can't write as the reason why you're not getting your message across, before you even get to having a coach, you just have to get all of this jumbling stuff that's in your head on in some kind of working fashion. Use Copy AI. And my YouTube, my last YouTube that I did, I'll throw it in the chat. I walk you through a couple of the things that it will do for you. It will begin to, if you've gotten stale with coming up content, if you have gotten frustrated and pulling your hair out because you can't write, you got to check out this newest tool. When we ask for help and use technology to do that, it's amazing. It's just, I'm as turned on with this as I am with StreamYard. I'm as turned on with this as I am with Canva. Canva, StreamYard, and Copy AI will help you get all of your messages out. So that is
Thank you, Liz.
that is what I wanted to share. And because that, and I know you way over, but check it out. If you are stuck, check it
Yes.
out. And
Thank you, Liz. Liz be
We
bringing on
I
some
know.
really good.
Listen, Coach
Yeah.
Karen, they come up with these apps. Thank you so much.
hey, make it as easy as possible.
That's right.
Just get it done. That's what
All
you
right.
gotta do. So
We
bye-bye.
appreciate you, Liz. Thank
Thanks,
you for hanging in
Liz.
there with
Appreciate
us.
it. All right. So this is the conclusion of our first Monday networking event. If you would like to be a guest or let's start here. If you want to be a part of the Biz Chicks community, we give you two ways of doing that. You can text Biz to 33777. That's Biz to 33777. Or you can go to bizchicks.net and sign up there. If you go to bizchicks.net, even if you've been there, because some of y'all, I don't see you over there. We have a new community site that we have established. And I want you to go over there to bizchicks.net. We are having workshops coming up. We've got a lot of things that have changed. So we wanted to make this community better for you. So please sign up for bizchicks.net, or you can text biz to 33777, whatever works for you. And we look forward to talking to you tomorrow when Coach TJ, Terry Johnson Online, will be talking to us with some social media marketing strategies and how to stay out there on social media and know what's happening. And so you have the best information. Coach Karen will be with us on Wednesday talking about getting your money right and how to bring profits in daily. Thursday, we'll be having Robin Shimizu and her friends coming in talking about happy, healthy habits. And then we have Friday, we're talking tech in English. And then we can do a little thing. Tell us when you come in on Friday, if you checked out copy.ai, tell us how you liked it. So come back in on Friday and see how that worked for you.
Talking tech.
Thank you again.
Coach Karen says real quick, bye everyone. It was so awesome today. Oh, so no evenings anymore. Correct. First Mondays going to be done during the regular showtime on Monday.
At 8 a.m. because we're all fresh and we can take some things. Take something from today. If you need to talk to Coach Cheryl, you know where to find her. Go through the chat. Her contact information is there, or you can reach out to us and we will get what you need. Once again, thank you so much. We appreciate you taking a little bit of your morning and afternoon, and we will see you again real soon.
Have a great day, everyone. And remember to go to the front of your own line, because it's okay to be successful in your business. Bye-bye.